everybody! Today we're going to classify some conic sections. Now that doesn't just mean recognizing what they are. We're going to have to put these into the standard form that we've been using. Because right now they're a mess. If I said graph that by hand or even graph it on your graphing calculator, you're going to look at me and go, "What are you talking about, Mr. Farrell? I don't know what's going on." Right. So we're going to use our trick. Now, I could recognize right away that this one, I got a positive x squared and a positive y squared. It's going to be a circle or an ellipse. So what do I do? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate things that go together. So as we look at number one here, the x's go together. So I'm just rearranging. Whoops, I wrote a y. X squared plus 6x. And I'm going to leave a gap. Gaps are very important because I'll show you why in a second. And over here I got y squared plus 8y, gap, subtract the 16 over. Okay, now we're going to complete the square. And so I'm going to separate, and there's a plus there. Remember how to complete the square. It's half of b squared, so that's plus 3 squared. I don't want to, it's half of that squared. I don't want to write 9, and I'll show you why in a second if you follow my tricks. But I just added 9 to that side. Whatever I do to one side, got to do to the other. Here, half of 8 squared, so plus 4 squared, so plus 16. Because that's 16. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other. Now, we can instantly factor this with my trick, so we've learned. Bring down the x, bring down the plus, bring down the 3. That's why I don't turn it to a 9. Leave it as a 3 so that I don't screw it up and write the right thing. Boom. Same thing, bring down the y, bring down the sine, bring down the foe, squared equals, oh, the 16s cancel, 9er. Now notice there's no coefficients on those. Therefore, it's a circle. Circles equal r squared. Boom. There's our answer. And I could graph that. -3, -4 is my center. My radius is 3, because square root of that. Boom. Circle. Okay. Next one's a little different, but still, same things first. Same things first. Let's separate x's from y's. So I got 4x squared plus 24x. And over here I got -y squared plus 2y. Watch your negative. Subtract the 19 over. And again, notice I got my spaces. And I got parentheses. But I got a problem. Coefficients need to be 1 in front of these. Here they were 1s. We're good. Coefficients need to be 1s. So how do we get rid of those? We're going to have to factor. So let's factor out a 4. And that leaves me x squared plus 6x. Here, let's factor out the -1. So minus, and we don't have to write 1, minus y squared. Now it's going to change that sign to minus 2y. Doesn't affect anything else. Okay. Now, same as before. Half of b squared, so plus 3 squared. But that's not a 9, because that's 9 times 4 I just added. So that's a 36. Here, half of that squared. We don't care about the negative, because you square a negative, you get a positive. So plus 1 squared. Now, I added 1. I added a -1, because 1 times the negative out front. So now, let's factor. I'm running out of room. That's x plus 3 squared minus y minus, because that's a -1 squared, equals, that's -20, boom, 16. But I'm not done. Notice, that looks too much like a 1. I don't have coefficients of 1, and I've got a minus, which tells me, what is it? Yes, a hyperbola. And hyperbolas have to equal 1. So we divide by 16. That's right over here. Well, look, 4 goes into 16 4 times. So let's write our final answer over here. I get x plus 3 squared over that 4 minus nothing to reduce here, y minus 1 squared over 16 equals 1. So look, you have a hyperbola with a center at -3, 1. It's a horizontal one, goes sideways. I go right and left 4. Right and left 2, up and down 4. make your happy box, boom, we can graph it. All right, last one. Hopefully we got plenty of room for this one. Same process as before. Let's separate the x's and y's. 25x squared minus 150x plus 4y squared. Did I give myself enough room? Yeah. And get the 125 over. Notice something cool here. There's no other y's. Just a y squared. I don't have to do any completing the square with that one. That's happy. But, that's not a 1. And that's by itself, so we don't care about that 4 right now. So let's factor out a 25. And that gives me x squared minus 6x plus 4y squared equals negative 125. Make sure that's a negative. Now, sure funny how the 6's showed up every time. That wasn't on purpose. So that's plus 3 squared, but it's not 9. It's 9 times 25, which is 225. Nothing with that one. So I got 25. Let's factor. X minus, that's a minus, so that's a minus. 3 squared, can we see? We can see. Plus 4y squared equals 100. Now, check it out. I know I have an ellipse because I have coefficients that aren't 1, and they're both positive. So let's divide by 100. Okay, let's turn this down a little bit. Now, check it out. 25 goes in 100 4 times. 4 goes in 125 times. So, final answer, x minus 3 squared over 4 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Now I could graph this. My center is at 3, 0. Up and down 2. Right and left 5. Bam. So that's each type. The key on this, separate x's and y's. Get those over. All those spacings help. Maybe using different colors helps. One step at a time. Be neat. All right? If you have any questions, hit me up. And remember, stay safe.